We are now just a little under 6 months away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by director J.J. Abrams. That is all set and ready to end the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, like I say, throughout the month of July, we are actually going to be experiencing some of the marketing strategies by Disney and Lucasfilm. They actually just started the other day with the unveil of course, the Sith Troopers, which seems to have gotten a mixed reaction on whether or not that's really a good name for a band of troopers in the actual Star Wars film. But anyways, I move on. What's really interesting about this is that these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the plans by Disney, Lucasfilm, and of course J.J. Abrams, this is where things begin to get a little intriguing and rather unfortunate for one of the sequences that was said to actually involve Harrison Ford as Han Solo. So let's get right into it. Now, what's really interesting about all of this is that it's described that reshoots for the film are extended all the way until September of this year. That is described to adjust many sequences within the second and third act of episode 9. It's described that one of the scenes that was in the works to be shot during the month of August included Harrison Ford and how he was supposed to go on set in front of a green screen and interact with the unused footage of Carrie Fisher that would be de-aged for a flashback, creating a heartwarming moment for the fans around the world. It said that the cancelled scene for Han Solo, portrayed by Harrison Ford, involved him of what would be him holding a baby Ben Solo in his arms, showing a brief glimpse into Ben Solo's life, where Harrison was supposed to be de-aged for the sequence. It said that the sequence was going to be used for one of the flow walking sessions that Kylo Ren would go through within the third act of the film, that was ultimately scrapped and has been replaced with another Han Solo sequence that will be used. It said that the footage of Carrie Fisher wouldn't work in a seamless way of the planned footage of Harrison Ford as Han Solo, as one of the main reasons as to why it was ultimately scrapped, and was supposed to serve as a parallel to when Luke and Leia were born in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, this, of course, connects to the rumored scene that we heard about a year ago. I don't know if you guys recall, but a year ago we went over how there was going to be a sequence involving Harrison Ford as Han Solo holding a baby Ben Solo. And we learned a little bit more about this just recently, and that was ultimately scrapped and pretty much, put to the wayside and into the trash can for Harrison Ford to have such a heartwarming moment in The Rise of Skywalker that was ultimately just deleted from the final cut of Episode 9, and all the plans were just put away. So, what I really don't like about that is that this would have been a great moment for Han Solo to really shine as a father. I think it really would have. I really do believe it would have shown a different side of Han Solo than we have ever seen before on the big screen. In fact, in the EU, yes, we saw little tidbits of that, of Han Solo experiencing, having his first child, and that whole entire side of his life. They could have explored that, and the fact that they put it to the wayside because it couldn't work with the Carrie Fisher footage, I guess is completely understandable. I do understand that, sometimes, technology is always limited and you really can't work things out. So that was all supposed to be done during the month of August, since reshoots, by the way, are now extended all the way until September of this year. Now, thankfully, there is going to be another Han Solo scene that is said to replace that, but this is a sequence that some people actually heard of about a year ago that really wanted to actually be in The Rise of Skywalker that's ultimately not going to be in this movie. And it was also said to be a parallel, and it was supposed to serve as a parallel to what we saw in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, when, of course, both Luke and Leia were born, where Obi-Wan Kenobi was holding, of course, Luke in his arms. I love that moment. It was just such an amazing moment at the very end of Episode 3, and could have been a great parallel to that movie in and on itself. So, like I say, the whole entire thing was how it did not work seamlessly with the de-aged Carrie Fisher footage from the unused footage of course, The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. So they figured it out, didn't work out, and I guess things always change. So with that being said, regardless, we're still getting Han Solo in The Rise of Skywalker in some way, shape, or form, in the forms of flashbacks, and of course in the form of vision sequences, but this scene in particular being cancelled entirely from, of course, the reshoots for The Rise of Skywalker, would have been an amazing scene between himself, Leia, and a baby Ben Solo. And it also, you know, lines directly up with how they had plans of an infant being used in The Rise of Skywalker for one of the scenes. You guys may have heard that about 9 or 10 months ago, about an infant being used in a scene for the third act of Episode 9. Now it all makes sense. So with that being said, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments involving the Harrison Ford sequence as Han Solo was ultimately deleted and just put to the wayside. Let me know what you think about that and what it would have actually looked like in the final cut. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.